music examination. The hosts of the show are Zag, Ness, and Curtis, who will be discussing, debating, and dissecting classic rock and roll. Let the show begin.
And hello, everyone. Hey, guys, how's it going?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Going
right.
good.
Really? Good.
I got a little cold, a little bit of a cold start.
Oh, I see.
Don't give it to me.
Or maybe you might hear some sniffling. I don't know.
Yeah,
Try to keep it under control.
That's good. You got a blow problem too. That's
So should we get Carol Brady to come on and take care of it for you?
No, I'm good. I don't need Carol Brady.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because she's really good at it with the kids, you know.
I heard.
You know, with the sniffles and
I
stuff.
heard she was really good with the kids. I just saw
all
an
right.
article
We're not
on
going
that.
there. No, we're not going there.
All right.
He brought her up.
Yeah. All right. Stop.
I knew Kurt
You
had a
always take
crush
this thing
on.
right in the dish.
I knew Kurt had a crush on Mrs. Brady.
Yep. And Marcia. And Jan. All right. Okay, guys, we actually have a good show today, I think. Hopefully we have a good show. Turns out pretty good. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing, we each picked a band. We're going to be discussing 5 of our favorite albums, and the other 2 are going to kind of critique the information or stuff that we give them, right?
Right.
Okay.
That's a nice way of saying we're going to pick our five favorite albums, and you two are going to tear the hell out of them.
Well, it's not a critique. It's and then we'll see how close we are all in agreement to.
I'm just pulling your chain.
Yeah, and the bands we got to do is Ness is going to do Heart, Zag's going to do Scorpions, and Curtis is going to do Led
Dan
Zeppelin.
Fogelberg.
Oh, that one! I mean, that's gonna have to be a special show by itself.
Oh my God, yeah, it
Yeah,
would be.
I don't
Because you'd
think
have to be by yourself. Because me and Mike ain't going to be
Yeah,
here.
I couldn't even name one album he has. He's probably got one named after him. It's just simply Dan Fogelberg.
Yes, he does. I think the first one. I think, or nope, maybe not.
Then Dan Fogelberg 2,
And then Fogelberg
3,
yeah.
then Unplugged.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he went past
right.
two.
So you guys want to start?
Yeah, so enough
Okay.
of Dan Fogelberg. Damn
All
it.
right. And
Get
that's
it together.
Let's go ahead and take off.
I'm going to start off with Heart. Now, we're doing them from 5 to 1 then, right? So you can build up suspense, correct?
Yes.
All right. Number 5 for me is Bad Animals. Comes off the 1985 Heart album where they had Outside Songwriter. This is the album right after that.
Okay.
This is kind of like picks up the album right after that when they're still using outside singers, when they kind of reinvented themselves.
Singers or songwriters?
Songwriters, I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were reinventing themselves, and some of the songs on here were just really, really strong.
Okay.
And like there were the hits. Obviously, there was Alone, I Don't Want You So Bad, but the hidden gems are like the Who You Run To, There's a Girl, Wait for an Answer. Really cool songs there that are kind of hidden behind all the glossy hits in that. And then number 4.
There was a hit on there? No,
Yeah,
no,
there was.
Alone.
There was
Alone.
Alone.
Alone was the big one.
The one, the 1985 one is the one that's got all the hits.
Yeah. That was
And then number 4, boy, I wrestled with this one for a bit. Little Queen, just because, and not necessarily because of Barracuda and Kick It Out, which are great. In fact, I think the intro to Barracuda is still probably one of the greatest rock intros around.
Yeah.
But just kind of the hidden ones on there. You could tell by Sylvian's song and Dream of the Archer and stuff. You could kind of see you could see where their heads were going. They were kind of going more Zeppelin-like, and that's what, like later on when they were doing Battle of Evermore, you could see where that started from. It wasn't just something like, well, let's just cover a Zeppelin too.
Right.
You can see they were kind of leaning that way, even way back then. Mm-hmm. And I think Nancy's got her first actually solo vocal on that one. I had it right in front of me here. And I am, here you go. It would be Treat Me Well, which is a total surprise because usually you're used to Ann's voice and stuff, and Nancy's is quite a bit softer, quite a bit more sexier, dare I say. And that was a nice little addition. The only thing,
as hot as she looked on that album, right?
Well, no, we weren't going to really. No, it's got nothing to do with that.
Well, her voice.
The only thing that kind of was a drawback on Little Queen was the fact that you could tell in the last 5 minutes they had a time to kill. So they did an instrumental on that was actually after Cry to Me, the Go On and Cry, which is kind of a jam that doesn't seem to go anywhere.
Right.
But in general, just as you were seeing the band develop, you could see they weren't just doing ballads just to do ballads. You could see they were heading towards something. And then my third one, which would actually kind of feed off that, would have been Magazine, which has got probably the strongest, I would say, strongest example of Ann's singing. Every song in there, from Devil's Delight to, I think probably the best vocal ever was on the Badfinger / Harry Nilsson, Without You.
Yes.
She really, the whole album, every song on there that she does is incredibly strong. And that one, again, you could see where they were kind of going. They're toward the end, they do a jam where they actually throw in snippets of Babe. Let's see here. It's You Shook Me, Babe, the Willie Dixon Led Zeppelin song. Mm-hmm. So you kind of see where they were going there, too. They were you could see a little bit more of the Zeppelin lean there. So when they end up doing rock and roll later on, then you could see where that came from as well. As far as, the rest of it, it's still, a step ahead of, the first album, but not quite as polished, still on Mushroom Records. So they were still trying to, fight their way out of that contract. But Just the Wine, just every song that she sings, that's probably, that album's got the best example for her singing out of all of them. And then, let's see here, number 2 would be the 85 one, where they kind of, I don't want to say sold out, but they were running out of fumes as far as writing their own original tunes. So they brought in outside songwriters.
But they also switched labels too, right? And that was part of the thing of having the outside songwriter.
Yes, because that was what they were asking to do, and plus they were kind of running.
That was the MTV era.
Yeah, that was the hair, the fancy outfits, and again, those are the Never, These Dreams, What About Love. But see, again, the one that made the high ranking for me was the obscure songs, like If
Looks Could Kill.
If Looks Could Kill. Let's see here. All Eyes, Nobody's Home, Nothing at All. Even Shell Shock, the last one, is a rocker. But see, those were a little bit more Heart's wheelhouse. But the other ones, like the hits, the Never, These Dreams, that's kind of got them back in the mainstream after, the Private Audition and Passion Works.
Yeah.
Kind of fizzled out on them. And then number 1, real easy. I think everybody's got this one, Dog and Butterfly. Cool in the fact that the first album, they were, they put a little bit of everything. They had rock, Crazy on You, Magic Man. Then they had a couple ballads. This way, instead of mixing it up where you put the album on and you're going from A to Z, but you don't know where you're going because you got a ballad, a rocker, maybe another ballad and a rocker. They took side 1, they made it a rocker. Side 2 was all ballads, which is perfect. So if you want, back in the day with the album, you flip it over. Side 1, you want to listen to rock stuff, you listen to that. If you want to listen to softer stuff, you flip it over to side 2. And that's how, I like that. I don't know if every band could do that for every album, but I found it handy if you're in a certain mood. You don't want to be sitting there listening to a ballad, and the next thing you know, you got a big rocker following up right after that. You can't, kind of ruins the mood, so to speak.
Yes. No.
Where did you guys have these?
Well,
Kurt?
my favorite album by him is Little Queen. That one's always been my favorite album the first time I heard it. So I don't know what you had. I don't know. I mean,
I have three. I ranked in my rankings. I have three albums Mike picked.
Okay.
So I went. I was kind of surprised. I thought Mike would have picked this one album, but he didn't even mention it. But I went from the Heart album, the one on Capitol with What About Love and all that. I thought that album.
The Heart album.
Same reason Mike gave the
I like
kind of obscure songs.
Uh-huh.
I even like All Eyes, Shell Shock.
Oh yeah, Shell Shock's a rocker.
And the Wolf. I like the Wolf too. I think
that's another rocker too.
Yeah. So I like the more obscure songs off that album.
Yeah.
Although I liked the other written songs by other people. I mean, at that time, everybody was doing that.
Right. Bon Jovi was doing, Aerosmith was doing, Ted Nugent was doing.
But so everybody at the time was doing that. But I think that was still a really good album. So I had that as 5. Number 4, I had Dreamboat Annie.
Okay.
I think not only because of Magic Man, Dreamboat Annie, Crazy on You, but White Lightning and Wine was on there. And I like that song "Sing Child" too. I think that's more of an obscure one.
Right.
At 3, I had "Dog and Butterfly."
Okay, yep,
Mike kind of covered that, but I think that's a really strong album. And it's got Mistral Wind on it, one of my favorites.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
And
yes,
Cook with
Mistral
Fire
Wind.
opens it. I think that one thing about Heart is I always like the way they sequenced their albums. I thought they did a good job.
No,
of that.
they've always done a really good job of how they lay out the songs on the albums.
Yeah. Then I had number 2 as Little Queen.
Okay.
I thought that album was kind of them coming into their own. You can kind of see the direction they were going to take. And the kind of sleeper on there that I liked was Cry to Me. And then, of course, the hits are on there. And again, you can listen to these albums through, and they're just good albums to listen. You don't have to skip songs. When you were playing records, remember skipping the songs you didn't like. You could really play these albums through.
Right. Or when you used to make your take an album and throw it on the cassette, and you're always jumping. You always eliminate some. But yeah, sometimes on some albums you didn't have to eliminate anything.
Yeah. And my number one for
I
me.
like that. Though I liked when we used to be able to do that. We just put the record down. I'll be back in 15 minutes to flip the thing over again because I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
And I had for my number one was Baby Lestrange.
Okay.
I just think that I have I highlighted Baby Lestrange, the opening song. I love the way that opens. And then Down on Me is not a bad song, but it's not it's not my favorite. Then you get I love Silver Wheels. Rockin' Heaven Down, Even It Up. Raised on You, I've always thought it was a good tune. I like the piano
Nancy
on that.
song.
Yeah, it's a piano song. And then Pilot and Sweet Darling as the ending song. I mean, that's a strong album when you really look at it.
Yeah.
And again,
that was the first one.
And that was a hell of a statement too, because they got rid of the boys.
Yeah. Well, no.
Or they got rid of Mike Fisher.
right.
Yeah, he
So
had the little
Howard was
meltdown.
doing a little bit more guitar playing, and I don't know.
I think it's kind of one of them sleeper albums when you really, and that's what I did. I mean, I honestly, when I got into that, I didn't really even think of that as being my favorite. And then when I really looked at it and listened to them, I thought, this is my favorite album right here.
Okay.
So
yeah, because like I say, I had the Baby Lestrange at number 5, and then the Heart album is number 4. Dreamboat Annie, I like Dreamboat Annie a lot. That's number 3, and then Dog and Butterfly was number 2, and obviously Little Queen is the first one.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
So we
one.
were all kind of in the same area
Close,
there.
yeah.
I don't dislike the first 2 albums. I mean, Dreamboat Annie and Magazine. I don't like the production so much on those albums. I think if they would have been recorded in a different time, they were on a small label.
Yeah,
the songs are good, but I think I downgraded that more because of I think it's kind of muffled. I get a muffled feeling out of those albums.
And I guess what drawing me to that was they did that Mother Earth blues thing where Anne was just incredible singing blues, and then she did like the Without You again. I think for her singing, that's the best Ann Wilson's ever sung in her life, before or after. To me, not singing to me, but
all right.
Who's up next?
Go ahead, Zach.
All right, I'm doing the Scorpions.
We will sting you.
I will sting you. Of course, not everyone knows, maybe. I don't know who's all going to listen, but from Germany, the band's from Germany, and been around since the 70s. I mean, they had some albums before these ones that I'm going to be picking, but they were more of a progressive type albums and not my favorites. Didn't make my top 5.
Yeah, they were interesting.
See, what Kurt and I were kind of talking about. I bet Zag pulls something back from when Ole John Roth was on there, or Michael Shea.
Well, I do have one that he was on, but
In Trance or Virgin Colors.
But the first couple albums are, they're
the first one with
take some time to
Michael
listen to them.
Michael Schenker playing. That one was interesting.
Take some time to listen to it.
So at number 5, I have In Trance, and that's really the first one.
He did pick one. He did pick it.
No. You can't even
your top 5 because I got 30 albums.
You can't say In Trance is like any of those other.
Right, but no,
In Trance is really when they changed the sound.
I see.
So if you give that album a chance and listen to it, you'll understand what I'm saying.
That's not the one. No, Speedy's Coming's not on that one.
But Yuli was still on that album.
Right, yeah. Yes.
But they got away from the prog sound, and
I see.
The song In Trance, I mean, it's on their live album. It's on
Virgin
what?
Killers?
Tokyo.
Tokyo Tapes.
Tokyo Tapes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that they did play that. I mean,
Yeah.
even after that album came out.
Right.
And then
Well, they probably told him and said, "Look, we got to start playing more rock and roll. We can't be playing this."
no, and this is why I wouldn't say it's my favorite Scorpions album, but
Okay.
if you listen through this album, they got away
Right.
from the prog sound. Dark Lady's the first song. That's
Yeah.
it's a rocking, new Scorpion sound that opens that album up.
So obviously, you got the album.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
I got the old ones too.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to be embarrassed to admit, but I don't play
No,
those
it's
all
fine.
the time. So
Where'd you get them at?
I just bought them through the years.
Oh, okay. I
There-
figured
you can get
maybe
'em.
you're over in
You can
Germany
still
or
get
something
'em.
like that.
Lonesome Crow.
Yeah.
So number 4, I am putting Savage Amusement.
Okay.
Again, that one was released in '88, and so it was a little bit after In Trance, which was '75.
I see.
But Savage Amusement, I think Don't Stop at the Top is the first song. Then it goes into Rhythm of Love.
I love that
Then
song.
Passion
So do I.
Rules the Game.
That's a good one,
so-
too.
Medium Overkill. The first 4 songs are just
Come out.
great songs, rocking songs.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Scorpions is most of the songs have the dual guitar. One's
Mm-hmm.
playing rhythm, one's playing the over solos.
Yep.
And that's what I think is so unique about the Scorpions. And most of their songs have that,
Yeah.
whether it's even a ballad. So the first 4 songs are really strong songs, and then on side 2, we got Every Minute Every Day is another song that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the deep cut if you want to pick a deep cut off that album. And then it ends with a ballad, Believe in Love, which was one of their singles
Okay.
off that album.
Really?
And that's when they started getting, the Scorp started doing a ballad an album, maybe 2 per album, but
Yeah.
their ballads were really strong. Most of them were pretty good ballads, and again, that was a thing to do.
Yeah.
Everybody had their power ballad.
Right, but a lot of some of their ballads really weren't like love ballads. They were
No.
they were statements.
No, well, like Holiday and Always
Yeah.
Somewhere. Those were kind of, I know where you're going. You're going Winds of Change
Right.
and stuff
But
like
yeah,
that.
but it's like even when they did a ballad, it wasn't like the
No,
they,
I
they
got
didn't do it like a sappy. It never really was,
No, they weren't real, like you said, sappy.
Right.
They're
those
well written
Mike Still-
songs, and they're solos in them. They're
Right, yeah.
they're complex things. They didn't just throw a ballad
Do you
together.
still hate Still Loving You?
I don't.
You
really
never
like that
were a
song.
fan.
No, I never was a fan of that song.
I never really liked that song either.
Yeah. It's okay, but it goes on forever.
Yeah.
They could have cut about 2 minutes off of that, tightened it up.
Right.
Maybe a little bit more, but it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
Yep.
So number 3 is speaking of Still Loving You is going to be Love at First Sting, which I know a lot of people would rank that as their favorite, but it's not mine. So I'm going Love at First Sting at number 3.
Well, we're gonna have to cut you off right now.
Wow. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Although that was not their highest ranking Billboard album.
Which one was?
Savage Amusement.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
I know. So, and I love Love at First Sting, I think, is a great album. It's just, I think, the first side, when you look at it as an LP, Bad Boys Running Wild opens it. I've never loved that song. I think it's a good opening song.
Oh, my gosh, I love that song.
But it's not my favorite Scorpion song. But it's a good song, and it's a good opening song for that album. But then he goes into Rock You Like a Hurricane, I'm Leaving You, which I think is a great song.
Yeah, I like that song a lot.
Coming Home,
Right.
and then the last song on that album on that side would have been Same Thrill. After that, on side, if you look at it as a side 2,
Right.
it opens with Big City Nights, which is a good tune. But after that, I think that album isn't, the other songs are
Kind of
not
fall off.
fillers, but I don't think they're as strong as some of their deeper cuts on their other albums.
Okay.
So commercially, I think the album, obviously Rock You Like a Hurricane was a big hit. But as far as a musical album, I have 2 more that I like better.
Okay.
So that's just my opinion.
I mean,
This will be
I'm-
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what you have to say now.
Number 2, I'm picking Love Drive. And
Okay.
Love Drive, I think, is really the album after, I said In Trance was like the beginning of this new sound that they were coming to.
Yeah.
I think they really hit it on Love Drive. They hit, you got Loving You Sunday Morning, Another Piece of Meat is number 2. You got Always Somewhere is the third song, which is a ballad.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Coast to Coast, which I think is great.
Great instrumental.
A great instrumental. They still play it today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you go into side 2, Can't Get Enough. Is there anybody out? Is there anybody there? Then
That's that reggae one. I didn't like that.
It is a little reggae, right? But that's probably the worst song on the album, because then it ends with Love Drive and Holiday.
I love Holiday.
Again, ending with a ballad.
Yeah.
But when you look at that album, you got Loving You Sunday Morning, Another Piece of Meat, Coast to Coast, Love Drive and Holiday, the strong songs, and they had 5 singles off that album. When that album came out, they released 5 singles off of it. And it charted at 55 on the Billboard. That was in 1979, when they really weren't even known here yet. And
they really weren't. They was barely getting any airplay over here.
No, their big breakout was the World Series of Rock in Cleveland, wasn't it? Where they were on the bill they were on the opening bill,
yeah.
kind of like what Quiet Riot and Motley Crue did at the S Festival. Scorpions kind of did at the World Series of Rock at the Municipal Stadium in Cleveland.
And they still, I think this has been debated, but they do list Michael Schenker on there, played on a few of the songs, but they had Matthias coming too.
Right.
So after that, Schenker was out.
Well, he actually was playing some gigs.
Then he quit. He's flaky.
As far as the album, he's got credits on it.
Yeah.
Kurt's
credits.
Kurt will explain it to us, but he's a flaky dude. He quits bands and joins bands, and he's.
And my number 1, which I don't have any doubt on this one. I mean, for me, is Blackout.
Okay.
And again, that's really when America, really got into them. That's when they got the most airplay. But when you look at Blackout, the first song, Blackout, cranks. Can't Live Without You, cranks. No One Like You, everyone knows that song. The fourth song, You Give Me All I Need. I mean, another rocker. And then Now, that's the first side. All good songs, all strong.
You haven't hit China White yet.
And then you go into side 2. You got Dynamite, Arizona, China White. When the Smoke is Going Down. I mean, not that those are big airplay songs, but when you listen to the album,
they're not filler.
They're not filler.
No,
Those are
they didn't get on the radio, but they're good songs that just never got.
Rocking songs, and again, good ballads that are on that album. I think when you really look at their catalog, this album was the best written, best musically, and it's a great sounding album. But the first side, man, you don't have to pick the needle up if you were playing it on a turntable.
Right.
So those are mine.
I was pretty close with you on a lot of those. My bottom feeders, though, are going to surprise you. I had Love at First Sting at number 1, just because I can listen to the first 40 seconds of Bad Boys Running Wild on a loop forever. I did it as the greatest chord progression ever. And I thought that my number 2 was Blackout, only because I think Love at First Sting was produced better. The sound was better. Blackout was just as strong. It's kind of like the Aerosmith first album. Great album, but crappy production. But I thought the Scorpions Blackout, from there to, Love at First Sting, I thought the production got a lot better. Both great. I had Love Drive at 3. And then here's where I'm surprised nothing got mentioned. Face the Heat, number 4. Alien Nation, No Pain, No Gain, Someone to Touch.
They're good songs, but I listened to that again, and I just didn't feel the songs were as strong as the earlier stuff that I picked.
And then the fifth one I had was Crazy World, with Tease Me, Please Me.
That one I toyed with with my
Don't Believe Her, Winds of Change.
Yeah, I toyed with that
Lust
one.
to Love, Kicks After 6.
But
this was tough. It wasn't easy.
No. Yeah. And some of these albums, you could overlap them. I mean, there could be, you could consider them a tie. I just looked at it as more what songs were heavier, more unique, not getting into the reggae sound. I mean, that got a little bit out there. But when you listen to really what's in the songs and what the guitar work in them and Klaus's voice, I mean, Klaus really... I know he had problems on the Blackout album. Was it Blackout or
Yeah, it was Blackout.
Don Dawkins sang some background vocals.
Yeah.
But his voice is unreal, man, in the studio. I mean, he's got a great voice.
Oh, yeah.
And he
No,
can do
definitely.
the ballads, he can do the rockers.
Yeah.
And then lyrically, I mean, some of them songs lyrically, I listened to those and I gave him a little, more of a nod if I thought the lyrics were
Which
a
has
little
got to be
better.
tough because he's German. He can't think American as far as putting
Right.
sentences together. A lot of his stuff sounds like broken English.
But
But I mean, he does a hell of a job trying to convey his message across. I'll
But
give
I've
him
had
that.
people. I got a friend who said he can't stand the Scorpions, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" One time and he goes, "Guy sounds like he's talking, singing like that with his nose," and I'm like,
He's
I
German.
get it.
He
but-
barely knows the language.
But I don't see it that way, So there's people that'll love the Scorpions and people that hate them.
Yeah.
But I they've always been one of my favorite bands. And
Yeah, same here.
They write songs to fit his voice, fit his
Yeah.
vocal range,
Yeah.
and that even the guitar parts and everything that all works together.
Yes.
That's what I've always liked about it. Yeah, because I've had Love at First Thing is my favorite one, and then right behind it was Blackout. So it was kind of like one of them situations where
So you and I flipped 1 and 2.
So
So you guys both picked Love at First Sting.
Yeah,
I'm
I-
surprised.
I
I, didn't
just
think
said
you. I
the
thought
whole- like you said, the whole one side is incredible.
I thought maybe one of them we would have picked Love Drive and one would have picked Blackout.
Gotcha. Nope. And then actually, my third one was Love Drive, obviously. My fourth one, I don't know if you guys even mentioned Animal Magnetism. That's the one that followed up Love Drive. It's got
make it what's
real.
the
Make
name?
it
Make it
real.
real.
Yeah, the zoo. Yeah, just
Oh, the zoo. Yeah, ugh.
you know,
That goes on
But
forever.
you really,
I know,
and you
but
can't. You really should make a judgment if it's overplayed because at the time when that album, you got to look at it as when those albums came out.
Right, yeah.
It's a good tune.
Yeah.
The Zoo. I mean, it's a crowd favorite when they play it.
Right, yeah.
It's got the noticeable guitar.
Yeah, with the-
But I just didn't think that album overall was as strong as some of the other stuff.
Got it, yeah.
But when you look at all their albums, they all got at least 2 to 3 great songs on it.
yeah. And when I was researching, looking at all the albums, I'm like, oh, that's right. This song's on that album. I thought it was, it's like like you said, they've got
Yeah.
good songs, but even hit songs and noticeable songs on every album that you're like, wow, oh, that's right. This one's on that album. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had, like I say, I like another one I liked was also Crazy World.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it was going into the 90s, but they were
Right.
still playing.
And that was kind of not funny, but I mean, I just thought that was kind of cool because they were kind of, they were transitioning. That the whole band was kind of transitioning, the whole metal scene was transitioning, and they were still putting out really good albums.
Yeah.
Like that in the Crazy World. That was a time where they could have easily fallen off the cliff.
Now, you know what
but
I
they
found
didn't.
interesting though about the Scorpions? They've only had one #1 album in Germany, and it was Crazy World. And
Really?
yeah,
Not even in the old stuff?
Return to Forever, which is one of the more current ones.
Yeah.
And Rock Believer both charted at number 2.
No.
Yes.
Are you
Really?
saying Rock Believer?
Rock Believer
Are you
was
a
number
Rock
2.
Believer?
Rock Believer's a good album.
How come Rock Believer was on your top
But
five?
it's weird how they've only had one #1 in their whole career. That was Crazy World. The next is number 2, which was 2 albums, Return to Forever and Rock Believer. Savage Amusement and Face the Heat reached number 4 in Germany. And
What about Sting in the Tail?
and here's the real surprise: they're Eye to Eye and Love at First Sting both reached number 6 in Germany.
Maybe because they were singing in
So
English. I
it's
don't know.
being from Germany, I thought they would have had more #1 albums. And then in the U.S., their highest charting album was, like I said, Savage Amusement. Love at First Sting hit number 6, and Blackout was number 10.
Okay.
After that, like I said, Love Drive I think was 55. But it's kind of interesting how, the different countries and then their home country, they only had one #1.
Right. You figure they would be charting a lot.
Yeah.
They'd have a lot more
Well,
success.
we all know this. I'm not saying anything that's groundbreaking, but look at Def Leppard. Def Leppard was huge here
Yeah.
before they were even, an afterthought in England. It took them forever to get, make any money in their homeland. So, so you can see it happens.
Now, there's one album that I wouldn't rank in my favorites, but is a really cool album is the acoustic album they did. It's a live acoustic album.
Yeah.
They play some different instruments in there, and they do some different arrangements, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's
Is
not
that
something
the
you're going to sit there and
one-
rock out to, but it's pretty interesting to listen to.
I saw one on VH1 Classic. It's like it was filmed in like a Greek theater or somewhere in
Yeah.
Greece.
They did
Yeah, you're
too.
right. They were using instruments that were from that particular country and stuff. Like they'll play like sitars and
Yeah, it's different.
yeah.
It's different.
All right, so now it's up to you, Kurt. Dazzle us.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Now,
Turks
that's not going to be Robert Plant's solo albums.
There could be.
So really?
No,
It could
there's
be?
No.
Big Log?
It's got to be straight out.
Yeah, it's
the
just straight-
almighty
it's-
Led
it's-
Zeppelin.
It's Led
So
Zeppelin.
really, when you do this, there's only like 2 albums you're not going to pick.
Yeah, because it's not like they have a huge catalog. But yeah.
No, they don't.
No, they really,
they
yeah.
This
don't,
one went
sir.
pretty quick.
It's kind of like, yeah. But no. Actually, my fifth favorite, or number 5, is actually Led Zeppelin 3 with the Immigrant Song, and Friends. That's the Way. Out on the Tiles. Stuff like that. It's the one thing that I kind of noticed about a lot of Led Zeppelin is they always kind of did like 2 albums together that had a little bit of the same feel. Like obviously the first and second one were very bluesy. Then they were getting into the little folk with some of the the mandolins and stuff, and and that they were going a little bit more folkish, hippie-ish with the third album and that. But yeah, that's my 5th. My 4th favorite, which is actually Physical Graffiti. It's why
Mike says,
Right,
No, don't carry on, my wayward son. There'll be
There'll be
rest.
peace.
There'll be peace when
when you were done.
later we were head down to rest. Don't you cry no more.
But no, obviously, it's got cashmere on it. It's got Houses of the Holies trampled underfoot and stuff like that. Another song that I like a lot is Down by the Seaside, and that. So but no, it's a double album. It came out as a double album. But no,
Custard pie.
yes, that's right. Custard pie's not, But no, I've always, I always thought that, that one there was another grouped album that, was just I think it came out just after Houses of the Holy, but yeah, no, I've always liked it. And actually, my 3rd favorite Zeppelin album is the second one. With a Whole Lot of Love, Another.
All right, carry on. Okay, just ignore us. You can
Don't mind the audience.
You can hear our you can hear
Don't
our
mind the
eyes,
audience.
Yeah, you can hear our eyes rolling from here. Go ahead.
Well, I know. Well, yes.
No,
some of these-
just-
You're
I can
entitled
just-
to your
Yes,
opinion,
you're
Kurt.
right.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is your topic.
This is your band. Go
I see.
ahead.
Okay. But no, it's got, Thank You and Heartbreaker and Live and Love and Made, Ramble On. What is and what should never be, and that, that's all on there. My second favorite is the Untitled 4 album, also known as Zoso.
Okay.
A little bit tidbit information. The picture of the guy on the cover. Do you know what's his name?
Your dad.
I don't know.
No.
John Bonham?
No, his name is actually Lot Long. That's the person. His name is Lot Long. Lotlong. He was a roof thatcher. That's why he's got the stuff on the.
Is that why that's your second? Is that your second favorite album?
That's my second favorite
Is
album.
it all because of that? The picture in the front?
Yes.
Okay.
No, obviously it's got Black Dog, Rock and Roll.
Let Long's picture.
It's got Stairway to Heaven.
Yes, got Stairway to Heaven. Battle for
Never heard of that
Forevermore. Misty Mountain Hop, going to
How's it go?
California.
We don't have time.
Oh, all right.
All right. And my favorite Zeppelin album is Houses of the Holy. Because actually, it's got my favorite song, my favorite Zeppelin song on there, The Ocean, which is my favorite song on there.
Which one?
The ocean.
Yes.
The Ocean's your favorite Zeppelin song?
My favorite Zeppelin song. Wow. But obviously, it's got Over the Hills. It's got, The Song Remains the Same, the Rain Song. Yep. Well, there's probably a lot of that going back then. Because I remember, I actually had that on my very first car I had an 8-track player in it. So I had a handful of 8 tracks, and that was one of them. So that's why I used to play that thing until the 8-track, until the car got totaled, and I had to get another car, and it came with cassettes. And after that was, but no, I've always liked it. I listened for that album for some reason. But it was weird because that one in like Physical Graffiti, they had the drum playing and the guitar playing were slightly offbeat a lot of times in some of the songs, So, and I always, but I just always liked that album, and that I still play it all the time, forever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
Mike.
But
All right, well, I'll go bottom up. I had Presents at 5, just for the sheer fact of Nobody's Fault for Mine and Achilles' Last Stand. House of the Holy at 4, just because Dancing Days.
yes. Oh yeah.
I love that song.
Yep.
That 3, I had Zeppelin 4.
Okay.
2, I had In Through the Outdoor. And only because, I loved the direction they were going into with, All of My Love, I'm Gonna Crawl, and then obviously, the hit off of that album in the evening and stuff. But it was, I thought it was
Hot Dog.
No. I thought it was the Southbound Suarez, a nice little funky jam.
Okay.
It was just, I thought it was like an unfinished work, but it's before Bonham died. That obviously was the last time he did.
Yeah.
It was interesting because I wonder what they would have went to with the next album. Because that album is kind of, you guys know, it's kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a straight head rocker. It's got the Carol Zalemba one where it kind of goes, it's got like, you guys get whistling in there and,
Right.
the conga, tin drums and stuff, the Jamaican things there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all over the place, and it just, I wonder where it would have went to if Bonham would have lived, what that next album would have came out.
Yeah, I've always wondered.
Yeah,
what
because they
would've been
weren't going straight ahead outside of like, in
Right.
in the evening and stuff. It seemed like there was a lot of different tastes in there.
Right.
I just kind of weird where that just there's a big question mark.
Yeah, 'cause like I say, they seemed like they always did albums in twos,
Yeah.
where they would do both of them would have a lot of similar ideas,
Right.
And that. So yeah, that one there,
Yeah.
you always wonder what they would have done.
Yeah. Well, and you could say that about like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix and stuff
Yeah,
too.
anybody.
And then number 1 was Their Exile on Main Street, Physical Graffiti.
I see.
Because it had all kinds of different stuff in it.
Really?
All sorts of, different flavors and texture on that one, too. But I thought that was Their Exile on Main Street, which,
Okay.
like the Stones, there was some stuff in there that was kind of like, ugh. And then it probably was an album they could have just made into a single album, like a great album.
Yeah.
But they made a 2-album set that was good, really good, but not great. But yeah, there was enough there to please everybody.
I see. Yep.
So there you go.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to go my number 5 is Physical Graffiti.
Okay.
And, every one of these Led Zeppelin albums have great songs on them. So what I would downgrade that album as not being one of my top albums is the kind of lull in the middle after Kashmir. You got In the Light, what do you call it? Whatever you say, Yar.
Bronyar.
Down by the Sea.
Yeah.
By the
You like
seaside,
that, though.
10 years.
Yes.
10 years is good. I mean, but
Yeah.
it was a double album, and it's just kind of a long album. That's only downgrade.
Yeah, like I said, that could have
It's
been
got
a really
great songs. Custard Pie, The Rover. I love The Rover.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of them albums
It
where
starts off real strong, but it's one of those albums. Back then, that was a big leap. People weren't doing double studio albums.
Yes.
So you give them credit for that. Then number 4, I had Houses of the Holy. Again, that has Over the Hills, Dancing Days. I like No Quarter. I know a lot of people think it's kind of a long, drowned out song, but I really like that song. My number 3 is the first one, the Led Zeppelin album.
Okay.
Just because it starts off with Good Times, Bad Times, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You, and then it's more bluesy.
Yeah.
Kind of
all
like
bluesy.
Yeah, it's straight
kinda
up
like
blues
that.
album.
That I mean,
I gotta be in the mood for that.
Well, again, every one of these albums have good songs on them.
Right.
I like How Many More Times too on that album.
Uh-huh.
So that's my number
It's also got
3.
communication breakdown on it, you know.
Yeah, and then number 2, I have Led Zeppelin 4, Black Dog, Rock and Roll, The Battle Forevermore. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. I mean, how you can argue with them?
Right.
It includes Stairway to Heaven. I mean, again, everybody's heard it a billion times.
Yeah.
But come on, that song's a great written song, you know. So, and then number 1, I got Led Zeppelin 2. And I mean, even with the Lemon song in there.
Yeah.
But the only thing that Led Zeppelin 2 to me that is Moby Dick on there. That is something that I could have done without. Oh, yeah, every song in there is great too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can we all agree that the live album is in the side 2, all of Dazed and Confused's side 2? Is that probably the worst album?
it could be up there. Yeah, it could be up there. And again, that album, when you listen to it, you feel like falling asleep because it sounds like the crowd is falling asleep. You ever listen? I mean, they don't sound real excited.
Well, did you see the movie?
Oh, yeah, same thing.
They got nothing. He's got no drum riser. He's just sitting on the floor there. He's got a pillow stuck in there. He's got no backdrop, and the crowd just looks like they're just, like you said, just kind of glazed over and just it's. But again, that was before big stage shows. But even then, even when Zeppelin could, I don't think they did big stage shows.
Not really. I mean, it wasn't until later when they, the
used to
mid to
dress
late.
flashy.
It was like around 78.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more live Led Zeppelin stuff to come out, like official stuff.
I'm sure it is, but I'm sure it's garbage. I'm sure
that's
the
what I
production's
wonder
probably really spotty.
I mean, they've done some stuff. They did that BBC.
Yes. Yep.
But there's not been a real good Zeppelin live album, like a full concert type album from
Did they
back
do
then.
the CD for the O2 show
Yeah.
in London?
Yeah.
So there is a CD on that?
Yeah, for Ahmed or whatever.
Yeah.
What's it
No,
called?
no. This was the one to the very end there in London.
When they close,
what the hell they named
no,
that?
they Celebration Day.
Celebration Day.
Yeah.
That's from that.
That was from that one. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
That sounds good, but I think there's a lot of work done to it.
probably. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That was not too long ago, so they were able to use all the the digital and stuff like that.
I do like. I agree with Mike. I do like Presence, but it's some of the songs are just too long in there.
Right.
But I agree
Killing's
with you.
Last Stand is just.
I
that
agree
one-
with you. I can't call it my favorite because it's just you gotta be in a mood to listen to that album.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was
But I
also
like it.
when Robert was recovering from his.
And his kid died too.
Yeah, his kid died, and then he had
broke
the
his
accident.
leg, yeah,
You know, so
car
he
accident.
was sitting in a wheelchair doing all the recording stuff. So yeah, that album was very interesting in general on that one. But I do like that. I do like parts of that album.
Huh.
Yeah.
You want to rank your favorite Bob Plant CDs?
Yeah, we could probably do
Oh, the
that.
solo
Yeah,
ones?
the solo one, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of his solo career?
Yeah.
I actually like it. I actually like some of the stuff because he got
I'm in the mood.
yeah. The first couple are, but
Now-
the later stuff is really
Do you
creative.
like Bobby Plant, the Honey Drippers, or do you like it what he's doing now with Alison Krauss and stuff, and what he was doing with Patty Griffith?
I not too familiar with some of the
The newer stuff?
the newer stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I liked some of the first couple.
He came out with oh man, what did he call it? Joy?
Oh, Band of Joy.
Band of Joy.
Which is supposed to be his first band
Yeah.
with
Now
John Bonham.
that stuff isn't bad. I've heard that, and out of all the stuff from his solo, I can relate more to that. But some of the other stuff, like Big Log,
Yeah, that early
and
stuff.
Burning Down One Side.
Burning Down One Side, and some of that. I'm in the mood for a
Pledge
melody. I'm in the mood for a melody.
Pledge Pin and
Some of
Oh,
you.
Pledgepin, yeah.
I mean, a couple
it's,
good,
you
but
know-
the solo career was, I don't know. I think it was kind of weak.
well, it started out. I mean, the
Well,
first,
he was
the first
trying to
couple-
divorce himself from the Zeppelin. He didn't want
Right.
to come out and sound like Zeppelin.
But he's not a pop
And I
star
think he
either.
went too far the other way. He should have kind of reined in a little bit. And then as he circled back later on, he did kind of circle back when he used that clip of a Led Zeppelin song in one of his one of his
Yeah,
solo songs.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What song was that?
Now and Zen. Now and Zen. I think it's the album Now and Zen.
it was. What was
Helen,
it? Yeah, he used a clip of.
Hey, Mama. He did that, right?
Yeah.
He did the Hey, Mama. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got some time to kill. We kind of nailed that pretty good there. We got some time to kill here. So you want to talk about anything else that's going on there recently? You guys want to speak on?
I actually recently watched a documentary on
Steve Merritt. You said that last one.
No, not that one.
He watched it again. He liked it so much.
Yeah, we watched that. No,
I watched it 3 times.
Watched it 3 times.
I watched it off of Amazon Prime Video again. Was that Dwayne Allman?
I've seen that. I haven't watched it yet, but I've seen it.
It's actually it really just covers all how he went through, his drive just in general of being a guitar player and being creative and just wanting to play. He played with us. It was kind of interesting how he ended up with working with Eric Clapton and Dominic and Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah.
They both liked each other's guitar playing, and they were finishing up an album and about to head on tour, and he found out that Eric was going to be in the studio where the Criteria studio down in Miami. Mm-hmm. So he ended up hanging out, and Eric liked what he was doing, so he ended up on the album and stuff.
Now, was there a lot of Dwayne Allman interviews, or is a lot of stuff coming from other people like Greg and Eric and stuff?
It was an old road manager, an old business guy.
There isn't any actual Dwayne Allman video or audio.
Well, there's audio. There's a bunch of audio stuff, but nothing by any of the other band members in there. No interviews, but it was a couple of the guys.
They couldn't find any old footage of them?
Yeah, that's what I was weird.
They had a little bit, some old footage, like concert stuff and things like that. But as far as it was some of the, it might have been parts of radio interviews or regular interviews, just audio. So they probably didn't really weren't filming stuff that much because he really only did a couple albums.
Yeah.
Then he died. He passed away, working the 3rd album. So. But
okay.
But yeah.
So I think something interesting came out this week was on the announcement that, because I was expecting either Joe Perry or Brad Whitford or someone to be the first one to come out and do something, but then you got Tom Hamilton,
which we never saw coming. We didn't
never saw coming. Got a new band coming out,
right? Yeah, that was interesting
with an unknown singer. I never heard of the singer, but he's got Tony Brock from the Babies playing drums, and they're gonna do a show in Nashville, and I guess they got an album coming out, or they got some songs that are going to be released.
Again, I'm surprised they didn't tap Brad Whitford or something for that.
Yeah, and you haven't heard anything
unless he
from
wants
Joe
to go
Perry.
Somewhere totally left field with this. We don't know what it sounds
haven't heard
like.
anything with Joe Perry or Brad Whitford. They haven't even made any comments.
You figure that.
Yeah, you think Steven would pipe in and jump in and did it?
None of them. In fact, Tom Hamilton in the article was quoted as saying it was a punch in the gut when it was announced that Steven wasn't going to be able to tour. He said it was a punch in the gut, but I was surprised. I thought out of all these guys, he probably wouldn't hear from him again, and then here he is, the one coming out with a new band.
That was really surprising.
What do you think the chances are of this?
Oh, it'll be just like anything else these guys try to do. It'll be a club club band. They won't be playing arenas.
No, they'll be.
If they even do a tour,
right? They'll probably do a handful of dates here and there. Some special gigs. That's about it. I'm thinking.
I think a lot of these guys are getting. They'll do an album just for the hell of it. And I know that Frontiers label pays these guys pretty good money to do these things, these super groups.
Okay.
But not many of them end up touring, or do you hear them on the radio? I mean, George Lynch has got about 10 bands now. I mean,
I know. Yeah, it seems like every time you turn around,
he's playing with Michael Sweet. He's playing with.
He's got his Lynch Mob.
He's got Lynch Mob. He's got the End Game or something. Yeah. He's got all these bands, and they're all on that Frontiers Records label.
Yeah, and he actually.
From what I understand, they.
I wonder how he keeps track.
They finance these things.
Well, he actually did it's like a solo thing. He put out a George Lynch album too. I think, just like a solo. It's like. okay, where are you now?
So do you think he walks in the studio not knowing what it was and he just waits for the guys to show up? Because, oh, okay, so I'm in this band today.
Well, I heard him on the radio. He's literally recorded some of these albums, like with Michael Sweet, where they don't even go in the studio together. They send tapes back and
everything's
forth.
all okay.
They can put these things together on the fly.
Send the file through emails.
And so, I don't know. I like George Lynch, but it's like, geez, oh man, I can't keep track of who he plays with anymore.
I don't think he can.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because he would do a tour for a little bit with the Lynch Mob. And then, like you say, then he's off doing. Suppose he was supposed to do a tour with Michael Sweet.
Yeah.
So it's like, what all of a sudden you see him listed somewhere that he's playing somewhere.
So the other thing is I had an interesting week a couple of weeks ago, and then you guys were with me on the end of my journey.
Oh yeah, this is Zag's wild week.
I went to
four shows in a week.
Yes.
And save the best one for last.
Save the best for last, which was with you guys, but I started off with...
I was actually with you with one of the other ones.
Well, that's right. That's right. So I went to see Judas Priest.
Okay.
Which was good. Rob can still, hit some of these high notes and all that. The only thing critical I would have to say is he uses that echo effect on a lot of the songs when he's singing the final word of the line. They'll use that echo effect, and it kind of got a little bit annoying. But other than that, the band sounded good. Then I went and saw Stephen Piercy at the Diesel Lounge, which is a small little club, which. It was a very uncomfortable place, which I probably won't go there again unless I can stand somewhere else other than on an angle of an old movie theater.
Yeah.
But he did sound a lot better than I've seen him before. So I don't know if he doesn't drink anymore. I didn't see him drinking at all during the show, and he sounded a lot better than I saw him a couple years ago. So
who's in his band?
He's got the same guy on guitar, Eric Ferrantino, I think his name is. He's been doing all the solo albums with him, and then he actually had George Lynch's drummer, I can't think of his name, filling in because the regular drummer he had was was his anniversary or something. He actually said that, and he's got the guitar player. He's an older guy, but I don't know who he is, and I can't think of his name. And the bass player is he's a producer, Holmes. What's his first name? He's a pretty well-known producer.
Okay.
He had him on bass. The band sounds good. I mean, the band has no problems. Steve's, not hitting all the high notes anymore, but he was much better than I've seen him in the past.
What percentage of the stuff is he playing as Rat stuff?
He plays all Rat. He didn't play one solo album.
Nothing. Okay.
Songs. You figured he was throwing some solo material.
No, he didn't do any solo songs.
So it was the best Rat song he did. Sound the best, really.
You know what? You could probably name the set list. I mean, he does all of
Wanted Man.
He did. The only thing I wish he would do that I have not seen him do since he's been out, and even when Rat was playing the last couple of times, was he doesn't play dance.
Okay.
Ooh.
He plays Slip of the Lip from that album, but I haven't seen him do dance in years. Okay. And then, but he did do Nobody Rides for Free, which I think is a good tune, and that was I didn't expect that one. But he plays Wanted Man. He plays
the one
Back
from the Point
for More.
Break soundtrack.
It was on the Greatest Hits, but I think it was on a soundtrack too. He doesn't play anything Rat did. They did that last album, Infestation, which is actually a pretty good album. He doesn't do any of that. He does all old stuff. So the set list is you're going to know every song. He doesn't play any deep cuts really. Okay. And then I saw with Kurt Rival Sons and Clutch and Fu Manchu. Although Fu Manchu, I won't have anything good to say about them. I think Kurt would agree. Then Rival Sons was second, which they rotate from what I understand, and Rival Sons luckily played second because we got out of there. We didn't stay for Clutch. Yeah. But I'm a big Rival Sons fan. I don't know what Kurt thought about it, but I think the singer's got an impeccable voice, and the range that guy has is unbelievable. And he's not faking it. I mean, he is singing. Yeah. You can tell. And the guitar player, I look at those guys like as the more modern day, not sound-wise as Aerosmith, but kind of like the same type of band where they got a good rhythm player. They got Scott Holiday playing guitar, and he plays a billion guitars.
Yeah, he had
They
some
got a
good-
good lead singer. The drummer's good, and then they do have a guy on keyboards. But Holiday and Jay Buchanan, the singer, are like Perry and Tyler to me. I
Now,
mean,
where are they out of? What city?
California,
Oh, okay.
like Long Beach or something like
Okay,
that.
Southern California.
But they got, I don't know, they got a couple EPs, and they're up to, this is probably their 8th album, 9th album already.
Okay.
And
Yeah, no, he played like he played a Gretchen, and that he played some really interesting, some really cool looking guitars that I liked.
yeah, their sound is different. It's a little tribal at times, but I think they're one of the more interesting bands to come around. In this late, really after the '90s.
Yeah.
And then of course Saturday we all went.
Yes.
We got Megadeth.
We got Mega.
And that, one thing about that concert I thought was really cool was I didn't get overly blown away sound wise. Like it wasn't like screeching
close as we
loud.
were, you're
but
right.
the sound was really good, man.
Yeah, they
Whoever
must-
does their sound,
Yeah.
because those guys, you know how those metal bands are. They'll come out there and just blow your head off, and then you
Yeah.
got your ears ringing and
Right.
distortion. And I think the sound was.
And we were
I was
close enough
surprised.
that we could have really gotten hit in
Oh,
the
yeah.
face with it. If it, yeah.
Yeah. So I was impressed. I didn't.
No,
I did
no
not
drum
expect.
solos, no drum solos, no long guitar
Yeah,
solos.
that was
no long
good.
raps. Just get in, get out, and just keep punching.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very solid. Very, very solid show. Well, it looks at the clock on the wall. Says we're about
Time to go?
that time.
Okay.
Time to go. So,
Alrighty.
Curtis, you want to, unless you got any parting gifts you want to give to the listeners?
No, hopefully everybody
How
liked
they
the
can
show.
reach us?
Hopefully, yes, you can reach us. You can email us at themusicexamination@gmail.com if you'd like to. You can leave a comment on the page if you'd like to also.
Okay. And
Positive, please.
and I
they can find us at YouTube.
Yep.
Nah, we'll
on
take
YouTube.
good or bad.
Yeah, you can find us. It'd
be nice to have positive,
though.
Yeah, there you go.
Want me to give them your number? They can contact you and.
Mike's number is
Mike's number?
area code
No, I'd rather
313.
I'd rather you not do that. Don't do that. Joe Mixer. Say, what are those guys doing?
Yeah. All
I
right.
couldn't hear.
But no, yeah, like I say, you can email us at themusicexamination@gmail.com or leave a comment on the page. You can find us on YouTube, obviously,
Yep.
and that. So
If anything,
And,
go on there and just look at the graphics.
yeah, could do that too.
Yeah, you could just put on mute and just watch. Look at the pictures we put up.
Okay. All right. But yeah, this show was recorded and engineered at Featherston Studio. And I think that's it for today. And hopefully you'll catch us in some future episodes.
Yes, you will.
Yes.
Stay metal
Okay.
Stay metal. Keep rocking.
in the free world.
You can't leave now. Who's gonna water the plant?